Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Awaken the Voice. This is Abby here, the only name you'll ever hear on this podcast. It's been such a beautiful couple months of hearing all these beautiful voices from all these beautiful men and women, parents, teenagers, and the list will just continue and continue. So if you were inspired by this and want your voice to be heard, please reach out to us. We want to hear you no matter where you are. So today is a special day because this is a mother that I admire. This is a mother that I feel has gone through so many things in her life, and she has grown tremendously from since I've met her. When I met her, she suffered with a lot of anxiety to the point that she wasn't able to walk into a room. When now she sits and speaks in a room and drives and does all of these incredible things, as well as being a loving and protective and just incredible parent. And I don't think she realizes how amazing she is. And I am so admirable of her, and she is someone that I respect and often inspires me as a mother myself. So, I made someone else cry today. But, and I mean it. So, hello, Voice 23. How are you? Good. How do you really feel?
Honestly, tired.
Tired? And what else? Are you nervous?
A little bit.
What are you nervous about?
The topic.
The topic. So what is the topic that you want to talk about? And I'm going to take your phone away from you. So you have to focus.
The topic is being a parent when your child is going through something that is overwhelmingly bad.
And can you, without, obviously you're anonymous, but what is your child going through right now?
Okay, so about 2.5, maybe 3 months ago, it came out that my child had been sexually abused by her cousin. So it's just been crazy since then. And it's been happening for 5 years.
Yes.
And
so your initial response when you heard this, what were you feeling?
ridiculously calm.
Yeah, interesting. Why do you think that is? Was that shock?
Maybe shock, but part of me has this big faith in God and stuff. So when a few things happened before we got told, and everything told me that it was bad and somebody had touched her. So I just got in my car and I just prayed, basically, just make me calm, because if I'm not calm, then I'll either have a panic attack or I'll go kill somebody.
Yes.
So,
well, which is your natural response when your child gets hurt, is to kill. Yes.
I was just ridiculously calm. She was telling me, and all I was standing there saying is, okay, and then told her that, it's not her fault, and she didn't ask for it, and we'd sort it out. But then I had to go over to her dad and stuff and watch them all falling apart and hold myself together.
And how do you really feel, though? Like, even though you were ridiculously calm, how do you feel right now, knowing that your child's been through such a trauma?
My heart's totally ripped up. I spend a lot of effort not thinking about it, because if I do, bad things happen in my head.
Yeah, understood.
I know where the person lives. I know the whole family, so I want to go and, knock heads together and stuff like that. But you can't, because you have to be strong for your kid.
Yeah. So because, I feel within the last couple of months, the topic of sexual abuse, sexual assault, violence in general has become a very, very, very open topic. But still, things are being hidden. Like, totally. The whole thing about the hashtag #MeToo, I think it's wonderful, but again, it's another...
can't put it on my page.
Well, but at the same time, it's another society thing, almost like that. Is that blue or gold dress thing that happens like a couple, years ago?
Oh, you mean, is it black and blue? Or...
Yeah, but it's that same thing. It's like it pops up in society, but nothing's done. Because this week there's no hashtag #MeToos.
Because it's a fad.
Yes.
It's a spur of the moment thing, and then it goes away. But in reality, the kids and people dealing with that, it's a lifetime thing for them. They're scarred. Yes. They have to work so hard every day. I watch my daughter do it all the time. Every day, it's hard for her to get up and go to school and face people. And she's had so many days off school and so many tears, and you get stuck. You want her to go to school, but you don't want her mental health to suffer any more than it already has. So you kind of just go, school can wait.
So what do you recommend to parents that are suffering with this, that don't know how to communicate with their kids, or two, which is a big one, don't know how to believe their kids? Because especially if it's people you know, it's like, oh, no. Oh, no, well, no. Like, how do you deal with that? What do you recommend to how to deal with those situations?
So question 2 first. Believe them.
Yes.
They are taking a huge step, speaking out about it. And they're speaking out because they need somebody to believe them. They need to know that they're believed, and that's a big thing. I had a friend tell me recently, she told her school counsellor, they told parents, and her mum says, oh no, you're just making it up.
Wow.
So I just...
But why is that? What do you think that is? That whole notion of, oh, they have to be making it up. Do you think it's fear on the parents' part? Do you think it's denial?
When it's a family member, 100% it's fear. It's guilt. It's a lot of things. But I don't have that guilt because it kind of sounds dumb, but it didn't happen on my watch. It happened on somebody else's watch. So I can sit back from a different point of view and go,
yes,
if my daughter is coming out and saying this, then something happened.
Yes.
100% belief. And then, I don't really talk to her about it because every time I mention something or a little question, she gets psychotic at me and screams at me. So I just have to be there when I can see she's falling apart and recognise the signs of when she's had enough or when something's triggered a flashback and she needs a minute.
Yes. And like I've told you before, especially myself having suffered with sexual assault and not knowing for ages, which is a big thing that is happening not only for kids but adults. When that repressed memory comes up, parents, don't be like, why don't you remember? It's like, well, do you remember everything negative that happened in your childhood or your 20s? If you don't, it's because you're obviously blocking it. And our bodies, it's trauma. And our bodies are powerful. And it's scientific proof. Read a book.
Yeah. Google
it. So when you talk to someone and say, oh, well, that happened 15 years ago, you seem so happy now. So? That doesn't mean that there's nothing that's happened to you. You have to deal with that. I
was raped when I was 17. I didn't tell anybody. I just got on with my life, but...
Yeah, but it still's with you, regardless.
Well, yes and no. It doesn't really affect me now, and it was a really odd situation to begin with, but I kind of just... I was 17 and invincible, and I was just like...
Did you tell anyone then? Did you tell anybody?
No.
Wow.
My parents don't know.
Wow.
My parents don't know because I was drunk.
But that doesn't make it right either, though. No. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. I know now. But then I was 17. I was like...
And that's so common.
I said yes at the start, but then I passed out and woke up with him on top of me.
Yes.
So what was it?
So what do you think education needs to be done? Because for me, you know how I feel about the empowerment program that we've done here, that your child has been a part of. But at the same time, parents are terrified of their kids getting life lessons. It's like, why do you think that is? They don't want to pay for it. They don't want to send them. They just don't. Even schools, they find a way to have it be an issue.
It has, a lot of it's parents. They see their child as fine. Kids don't talk to their parents a lot about how they feel and bullying and things like that. I never did. Yeah. My parents had no clue that I was suicidal and hated myself, and I ran away every 3 months for 2 years.
But they didn't ask you any questions.
They didn't, and when I spoke out, my family didn't believe me. It took an act of violence in front of my whole family for someone to go, oh shit, something really did happen.
And I think that's the biggest thing, and I am with this all the time, and that's why my sister has become such a big inspiration to me, is that she was the only one that had a voice. She was the only one that made sure she wasn't hurt. But I think when you're in fear, it's like you don't know how to communicate. Even with the couple of kids that I teach, it's like getting them to move their body. They're so afraid of what people will think of them. And they're 10. It's like you're 10 years old and already have a fear of judgment. Imagine when you're 17 and have been sexually assaulted and being in fear of how people are going to treat you.
Well, it wasn't really fear for me. It was just, I felt stupid.
Ah.
I felt stupid because I'd gotten...
drunk.
That drunk. I was passing out in the taxi on the way home.
But men can do that all the time, and no one, like, says anything to them about that. But if it's you're wearing a short skirt or got a little too drunk, then you said yes, you were asking for it even though you were asleep. Like,
Well,
it doesn't make any sense to me.
That's a blurry line. Like, it's a blurry line. Like, to me, it took me until I was, like, 25 before I realised, hang on, that really was rape. And because I was like, oh, whatever, it didn't really affect me. It was hard because I had to go to the hospital and get tested and have the morning after pill and all this other stuff. And I was 17. I didn't live at home.
Did you
with
do
my
this
parents.
alone?
I had friends, but I didn't live with my family then.
Okay.
I hadn't lived with my family for about 6 months when that happened. So,
do you find that these conversations need to be had as soon as kids understand what it is? Sexual assault, violence,
my
all of
youngest
that.
daughter is 9, and I have taken every opportunity I can to let her know what rape is and what consent is, and that nobody should touch you without your permission, especially on your private parts. And if someone does that, then you need to speak out. And that's how I've been for a really long time. And to find out after it been going on for 5 years that it was happening to my oldest daughter is a surprise, because I've always been really open about consent and what it means, and you're like...
It's the power of manipulation and brainwash too, though, isn't it? On the point of, you know, I was a very vivacious, happy child that wanted to please and love. You know what I mean? And I think if you already have that personality, it's a target from a mile away. You can feel it.
Target.
You can feel it.
And having, I mean, the daughter that has been assaulted, I watched her, and it's amazing how different a child she is now. So when she was then, like, she was happy all the time. She would help. She was kind to her sister and brother, and she was just, like, I was in awe of her. Like, I would look at her and go, holy hell, I can't believe I made that. And she's smart and funny, and everybody loves her. Like, I couldn't believe I made that. So to find out that she's now, you know, she's not very kind to her brother and sister. She's not very kind to me a lot of the time. She tells us all to fuck off, and
really,
yeah, she gets violent with her brother and sister, and she just hides in her room all the time.
So what are you doing as of right now to kind of, because at the end of the day, and as someone that's experienced this themselves and didn't know for a very long time, forcing them to speak isn't going to help. But what are you doing to help for all these parents out here that may be dealing with this? What do you recommend that they do?
We have, her father and I, as a collective, we've sent her to a counsellor, a trauma counsellor, someone who can talk to her and report anything she says on the matter to the court. But in Gympie, we're really lucky. We have a place where sexual assault victims can go for specialised counselling, and her dad didn't want to do that, but I've since spoken to the police and got a referral to that. That is a place where that's their sole purpose, is to counsel sexual assault victims and help them come to terms with it and help them be able to be ready to speak out.
So do you recommend that to people wherever they are in the world, to find a safe place like that?
Yeah, 100%. If you need that kind of counselling and it's something that's just been brought to light, you go to your authorities and find places like this that are there to specifically help for that purpose, because it's something that if it doesn't get dealt with, the cycle can repeat.
It will repeat.
The cycle can repeat,
it will.
and that's exactly what happened to my kid.
Yeah.
It happened to the person that did it to her, and then he's paid it forward.
You know, and that's the scary thing, isn't it? It's like, if you don't stop, I don't even want to say the word pattern. If you don't stop the trauma, then the trauma will continue. But if we don't communicate the trauma, the person that's experienced the trauma will not know how to speak. Because unfortunately, the child that has hurt your child is also hurting. So it's like someone needs to, and I think you feel that too, which may be a part of your like being able to sit in your calm, is because you know this person. Like you, or did you know, or did you feel something was off?
I didn't know, but the events that transpired on that day, every part of my stomach, every part of my being was like, somebody's touched her. Somebody's touched her, somebody's done something wrong to my kid. And
you could tell.
Well, not straight away, but just the events that happened that day and how it came to be, it was...
Oh, so the actual day it had happened to her, you could feel it?
No, it was the day that it came out. So I was at a friend's house and I get this phone call from... I'll backtrack. Taylor had a... Oops.
Well, there's the name, but
Yeah.
it's all right.
My kid had a really big breakdown about a week before, and she just fell apart in my arms, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, she needs a safe place to be. She was telling me things that mirrored me when I was that age. She hates herself. She was just like, I can't do this. Like, I don't want to be here. I'm going to write my creative writing piece on a boy who commits suicide. And I was like, shit.
Yeah, what's up?
What do you do? Like, where do I go? I can't tell my family this. So I reached out as a mum to somebody who has dealt with like terrible things like that too. So I reached out and got advice for her and got her someone to talk to. And then when it came to be my week with her, I had to let go of pride and protection and let her go to a place where she felt safe. So she was at that place, and it was time for her to go back to her dad's house, and I get this phone call. Do you have her? And I'm like, no, what the hell's going on? And then she said, the person on the phone's like, I'll call you back. And then I get this phone call back, and she's hysterically crying, going, go home, get changed, we got to go to CPS. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, friggin' hell, like, how do I be calm in all this? I was freaking out. Anxiety was through the roof. I had to fight a panic attack because, you know, it's stuff that is a parent's worst nightmare. And then it was like, okay, we're not going there. Meet us at the duck ponds. And so that's where it was. And
that's where it was revealed.
But the minute CPS was mentioned, I knew in my stomach. Yeah. Somebody has taken my child's innocence. Yes. Somebody has...
And now she's a different child because of it.
Totally. Yeah. You get sparks there, you know, but
there's a lot of hurt.
The old one's there, and she's doing her sister's makeup or being kind or helping me cook something. There's little bits of her that are still there, but...
But I remember, too, I had a violent streak, too. I just would want to hurt things, you know? And you don't know why, but you do know why, you know? But the thing is, for me, she's living it right now. And I think the important thing also to say for parents, too, is try to distract them as much as you can with things that they love. And if you don't know what they love, make them do something. Because being in their house all the time, being in her room, is one thing. I do believe she needs to process, but she needs to be out in the world, in nature, and doing something to give her... And it is. It would be so hard.
She doesn't want to. Like, dancing was her whole entire world for a really long time. But
and now it's hard to get her to come.
It's hard to get her to come, but she absolutely loves it.
But also, it's a trigger for her because it's her body, you know? And that's the thing with dance... You know, possibly, too. Yeah. Because it is. Like, I feel it for myself. Dance is my entire life. But there is about a month here where I couldn't even teach. I couldn't move. You know, it took a long time for me to get the strength to just move my body. But I think bringing her in places that she feels safe, continuing counseling, I think that's a big, big, big one. I think that's the most important one, especially for the teen age.
You have to.
Find someone you love and bring them there. Immediately.
I mean, for a kid being as young as she is, not having this dealt with counselling or whatever avenue you choose, it definitely leads down a really destructive path. Drugs, promiscuity, like just self-harm. It just leads down the most horrible road, and you don't want it to happen. So counselling and ongoing support, regardless, of whether you think they're better or they're coping fine now, don't stop it because they cover it up.
Anything else that you want to share with our parents, with teenage girls and boys, or just with someone that may be in fear that it's happened to their child, but they're not communicating? What would you say to them?
Lead with love. Follow your heart. You know your child. You know when something's not right.
Yes.
And just go with it. A mother's instinct is like rarely wrong. A mum knows when something's not right with their kid. Always. And I think to just engage and ask and give them, even if you're not their safe place, give them somewhere that's a safe place for them to just settle and feel loved and supported. And if something's happened, it'll come out.
Yes, it will.
When they're ready. They have to be ready.
Yeah.
You can't force.
It'll make it worse.
You can't force details.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing I've had to learn, is that I can't force one detail out of her.
Yes. She'll come to you when she's ready.
It's her time, and all you can do is just lead with love and be supportive.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So much. I know how much anxiety you had about doing this, and I don't think you realize how much this is going to touch a lot of parents that may have experienced the same thing, may be experiencing this, and just may not know how to deal. So you are not alone, for one, and you're doing such a beautiful job for loving your child, because there's a lot of children that aren't loved like you love yours. So
it's my only thing I have in life is my children.
Yes, and you're wonderful. You're so wonderful. Thank you so much, Voice 23. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Remember, these are free podcasts, so you're able to tune into them whenever you want. So parents, listen to them. Listen to what these parents, these children, what everybody is saying, because it's so, so, so important, because their stories are probably yours. So take it in, come back to them, have your children listen to them. They're vital, they're important, and they're a safe space for you to understand and to be inspired and all of those beautiful things. So thank you once again for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Thank you again, Voice 23, and we'll see you next time on Awaken the Voice. Bye.